Well, we're talking about atoms, neutrons, protons, electrons. And this first quantum revolution, as we now call it, was how we began to understand the way that atoms work and how they assemble together to make the reality that we see around us today.
Indiana's evolving role as a leader in quantum computing, what it means for business, government, and higher education. Plus,
imagine a view such as this 150 years ago.
This amazing landmark is here in western rural Indiana.
What will it take to save a towering historic building along the banks of the Wabash? And in the business of health this week, Elanco's new remedies to keep your pets healthy. It's all next on Inside Indiana Business.
From Indiana's business news leader, this is IBJ Media's Inside Indiana Business with Gary Dick, presented by Elevate Ventures, Indiana University, and Liuna.
Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gary Dick. Quantum computing. It's an emerging field of computer science that uses quantum mechanics to perform calculations and solve problems many times faster than regular computers. It is technology that holds the promise of collaborations among business, government, and academic institutions to achieve breakthroughs in national defense, cybersecurity, biotechnology, and many other areas. And Indiana is making a bid to be a leader in the quantum field by establishing a high-tech superhighway. It's called the Quantum Corridor. It's an ambitious plan launched 1 year ago with a transmission from a data center in downtown Chicago to a center in Hammond. The speed, get this, 500 times faster than the blink of an eye. But there are much bigger plans to extend the network for more than 250 miles across the Indiana Toll Road in northern Indiana and ultimately south to Purdue through Indianapolis to the Crane Naval Surface Warfare Center in southern Indiana, and with it, the potential to supercharge innovation, investment, and infrastructure.
And when we're anywhere other than the North or South Pole on the surface of the planet Earth, we are in a quantum superposition of 0 and 1.
The Quantum Corridor, with its nearly instantaneous computing and communication speeds, fast enough to transmit the entire printed collection of the Library of Congress every 2 seconds, is viewed as potentially transformational for Indiana and the nation.
You think about what are the great corridors. We think about these tech clusters, Silicon Valley, Route 128, Aerospace Alley in Colorado. We have the makings of this high-tech corridor here in the Midwest, ranging from Crane, Indiana, where the Navy is doing its most advanced technological innovation and research and development of new systems, running up through Fermilab, Argonne National Lab. You got Purdue University, one of the largest and most efficient and effective research universities in the world, and we're building the Navy's new frigates all the way up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So if you think about this high-tech cluster or corridor that we've created here, then you understand the importance of this quantum corridor.
The corridor would link universities, researchers, and the private sector along its path, providing connectivity that currently doesn't exist.
We believe the next generation of technology center is going to have a data center as part of it, but it's going to include a dozen PhDs. So we're going to be working on fantastic solutions to amazing problems, some of them militarily, some of them for the advancement of the human body.
For hundreds of attendees at this week's Midwest Defense Summit in downtown Indianapolis, the potential of a quantum corridor to the Crane Naval Surface Warfare Center was top of mind. One of the largest military installations in the nation, Crane is home to more scientists, engineers, and technical professionals with advanced degrees per capita than anywhere in the country. A tech hotbed supporting research and development in electronic warfare and testing and technologies like sensors, electronics, and advanced weapons systems. A quantum connection to Crane is viewed as a potential game changer for the economy and national security.
We got a generation ahead when we developed the nuclear force first, and then we invested in things like GPS and stealth. That gave us a 25-year lead. Right now, the opponent is largely caught up with us. This type of investment allows us that opportunity to establish that generational lead again, to get out there ahead, to define the battle space. And so we need these types of investments, whether it's hypersonics or whether it's quantum computing or AI. These are the things that give the U.S. military its technological advantage in the battle space.
Raising money has not been hard. we've got a lot of people that are wanting to help us.
Organizers say they are nearing a $140 million fundraising goal for the corridor, evidence of momentum that they say is real.
Indiana is really well positioned. The Midwest as a whole is well positioned. The Quantum Valley, if you want to use Silicon Valley analogs, is really being defined right now. We see a huge investment from our neighbors to the west in Illinois, but we've been working on this for quite some time at IU, Purdue, Notre Dame. Microsoft on the corporate side has been a big investor in some activity at Purdue, and so we've just got a lot of great assets here.
Some big news on a major development. Officials say if all goes as planned, the Quantum Corridor could be connected all the way to Crane by early 2027. Well, the key organizer of the Defense Summit we just reported on, Bloomington-based Applied Research Institute, behind big bucks going to Purdue for high-tech research. Applied Research awarding a team of Purdue University researchers $21 million over the next 4 years to advance artificial intelligence hardware in semiconductors. When we come back, shifting gears from future innovation to preserving an Indiana gem from the past.
Even 150 years later, to look out over these trees, especially in this direction, that not much has changed.
The bird's eye view from a Wabash Valley treasure. We'll show you what's being done to save it when we come back.
Here's what's making news around Indiana. Brought to you by the Indiana Association of Realtors. Indiana's 21,000 realtors. The neighbors you know, the experts you can count on.
Well, it has been a busy week when it comes to business news around the state of Indiana. Mary Rachel Redman is in the tiny town of Merom, Indiana, along the banks of the Wabash to get us caught up. Mary Rachel.
We begin this week with two big business developments in Fort Wayne. Fort Wayne-based Do It Best has entered a bid to acquire hardware retailer True Value after the Chicago-headquartered company filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. True Value has stores in more than 24 Indiana communities and 4,500 stores nationwide. Inside Indiana Business spoke to Do It Best CEO Dan Starr, who says the deal would give his company the ability to not only scale up in size, but also provide improvements to Do It Best productivity.
The main thing that we want to do as of a closing would be to bring stability of operations and make sure that the customers who rely on True Value go through no disruption to their normal business. You do want to work on plans for integration, but you don't want to do that at such a speed that you begin to threaten the very thing that you have acquired.
True Value's bankruptcy filing kicks off a public bidding process with Do It Best currently the lead bidder. The company says it plans to keep the True Value brand intact if it successfully acquires its assets. Do It Best expects to complete the sale by the end of the year. Also in Fort Wayne, updates on two major developments. The Alex at Electric Works. It includes nearly 300 apartments, an early childhood learning center, and wellness facilities. And in downtown, plans for a $45 million mixed-use development project moving forward. The Wells Street Wedge will be built on the north side of the St. Mary's River. The Ports of Indiana is launching a new venture that it says will be the largest general cargo operation on the Ohio River. Through a partnership, Indiana River and Rail Terminals will manage all general cargo facilities at the Jeffersonville and Mount Vernon ports. It will not only expand operations, but also create new services for customers. 8 organizations from around the state have launched the Indiana Starters Coalition. A committee will work to identify barriers, propose policies, and engage with communities across the state.
You can be in Pike County, Indiana, and have a restaurant, and you still have similar barriers to folks in Fishers, Indiana, that are developing a SaaS product. And so that is truly the focus, is to be the voice of entrepreneurs.
The Indiana Group is part of a national nonprofit called Right to Start. The coalition aims to start working with lawmakers next year. A startup that makes and sells plant-based adhesives and coatings for a variety of industries has set up shop in Indiana. BioBond Adhesive, which launched less than a year ago, officially opened its Indiana facility, which houses both the company's headquarters and development laboratories. BioBond says it plans to roll out 4 new products to market before the end of the year. Anchor Ingredients will celebrate the grand opening of its transload and ingredient processing facility on Monday in Richmond. The company supplies ingredients for the pet food industry. The $40 million project began last year and added 30 new jobs. And an Indianapolis-based company is celebrating after receiving a golden ticket from a major retailer. EarthLife Foods earning a deal to sell its plant-based corn dogs products at Walmart, allowing the company to ramp up its production and bring on more full-time staff. EarthLife hasn't gotten an exact date yet for when it will be on store shelves. So why are we here in the tiny town of Merom, Indiana? Well, it's home to this historic hidden gem high above the Wabash, with a story just as unique as the structure itself.
When Vincennes was the capital of Indiana, it was just one short steamboat ride up the river, up the Wabash River. Once you saw the bluffs, you knew that you were here, at the forefront of economic development in early Indiana.
Merom, Indiana, once thought of as a shining city on a hill, the epicenter of arts and culture in the late 19th and early 20th century, even attracting presidents like Warren G. Harding and William Taft. The budding cultural scene in Merom made way for the construction of Union Christian College in 1859.
This was the first place, the first college in all of Indiana to offer the same curriculum to women as to men. This was right before and during and right after the American Civil War. In recovery from war, whole societies look to be rebirthed, to be restored. Union Christian College was part of that restoration and rebirth.
And over 160 years later, the same building that was once the anchor to what was formerly Union Christian College is in dire need of a restoration and rebirth itself.
I think architecturally, College Hall is itself impressive. It's not often you see what really is a 6-story building from circa 1860 with its cupola on top, towering over a small community like this. I think that's part of what makes it unique. The fact that it's still standing. So many small communities that would have had a landmark like this, once that original use was gone, those landmarks were lost. So to have this continue, the building continue to be used and evolve with the evolution of the facility, the campus here, also makes it unique.
The historic College Hall is chock full of most of its original pre-Civil War features, in many cases seemingly barely touched by the passing of time. But perhaps the crown jewel of them all at College Hall, this spiral staircase.
You can't help but look up this 3-story wooden spiral staircase, original to the building. 160 years old. It's unbelievable. You'll see carvings from people dating back to 1887, the 1920s. So much history on one staircase.
Over the years, College Hall has birthed so many things that are important to this community.
Union Christian College closed in 1924, but the campus then reopened as the Merom Institute. But perhaps most notably in the early 1940s, at the height of World War II, it became Base Camp number 14 for conscientious objectors.
During World War II, there were those men who refused to serve, and they were given an opportunity to still serve their country. The campus here served as the campsite for conscientious objectors.
We know that it's going to be roughly $1 million or a multi-million-dollar project to restore this building to its original beauty.
It will be an integral part of the future. We build upon its history, the value it had in developing this community. I have to find the monies to save this building so that this building will be here for my great-grandchildren to see and for it to be a vital part of this community.
Truly a hidden gem right here in Southwest Indiana. Who knew? Gary, back to you.
Fascinating story. Thanks very much, Mary Rachel. When we come back, how Indiana-based Elanco Animal Health is changing the game to keep pets healthy, from itchy dog treatments to chewable preventative care. Details coming your way next.
Bloomington, Indiana is a great place to live, work, and raise a family. Indiana University helps spark the economy and makes life in a college town better. We are connected to a national forest and home to 3 lakes. It starts with a visit. Plan yours at visitbloomington.com.
Well, playing ball in the backyard with your pups and a new made in Indiana way to protect them from getting fleas, ticks, and other parasites. Indiana-based Elanco Health getting the green light from the FDA for a potential game changer in how dog owners protect their four-legged friends. Business of Health reporter Kylie Veleta here now with a special guest with details on that, Kylie.
That's right. Okay, so this is the newest member of the extended IIB family, our executive producer's new pup. So one of the major things with dog ownership is the meds, especially staying on top of the parasite meds, and it typically means juggling a lot of medications at once. You've got one for heartworms, one for fleas and ticks. Well, Elanco Animal Health, with its headquarters in Greenfield, just announced a new drug called Credelio Quattro. It combines protection for fleas and ticks, heartworm disease, roundworms, hookworms, and tapeworms, all in one chewable pill given once a month. Elanco says it is the first in the industry to offer that level of protection in a once-monthly pill. The new drug adds to Elanco's momentum. It's the company's 3rd new product to earn approval this year. And a new hospital on the north side of Indianapolis is the first in the state to have special rooms so a mother can stay with her baby even if the baby needs NICU care. It's part of Ascension St Vincent's new Women and Infants Hospital set to open next month. The 8-story tower connects to the Peyton Manning Children's Hospital on 86th Street.
I've been at Ascension St Vincent for 46 and a half years. I have worked on every OB floor that they've had, and this has always been a dream. To connect us back to the main hospital is something that needs to happen. We're working on maternal and infant mortality in the state of Indiana. As you know, it's not great.
The $200 million project features private rooms with pull-out couches so both parents can stay round the clock. And in Evansville, a new phase of a major project at the University of Southern Indiana is now underway. The school investing $49 million to upgrade the Kinney College of Nursing and Health Professions. The current phase will add lab and classroom space and transform the building's exterior, creating a new look for the entrance to USI's campus. And to West Lafayette, where serial entrepreneur Dr. Philip Lau is at it again, this time looking to change the face of flu season, which we're headed into. The Purdue professor's startup Radavir recently completed a $10 million Series A funding round. The startup is developing a new treatment for the flu by creating molecules that guide the patient's own immune system to destroy the infected cells.
The hits keep coming for Phil Lau, a real asset for Purdue and the state of Indiana as well. But back to Elanco, because that's 3 big products. That's big news for a company building this new headquarters in downtown.
Exactly, on a roll, right? And they said these 3 new products also, all 3 of them have the potential to be blockbusters. And they said that it's 4 active ingredients, which is why it's called Quattro, but protection against 6 parasites, which I can tell you from being a dog owner, I mean, that's a major advancement, not having to deal with multiple medications every month.
All right, great stuff, Kylie. And Rosie, you did a great job too.
Your debut.
Yeah.
Time now for our Eye on Education, brought to you by PNC Bank.
Well, we begin on the hardwood at Indiana Wesleyan University in Marion this week. The campus soon to be home to a new $30 million basketball arena. Construction actually starting this week. The Wildcats are consistent national contenders in basketball and women's volleyball at the NAIA level. The IM Third Arena expected to host its first games at the end of 2026. Well, it might best be described as a gamer's paradise. Iconic old school video games now on permanent display at IU Indianapolis. The school's collection of nearly 600 vintage video games and gaming consoles have been dedicated as an IU museum collection. The new museum is located inside the Luddy School of Informatics, Computing, and Engineering.
So check it out, where does our time go?
Well, IU alums in Bloomington for homecoming this weekend checking out a new life-size statue of Indiana legend John Mellencamp, located near the statue of another Hoosier music icon, Hoagie Carmichael. Well, continuing with our music theme as a way to tell Indiana's business stories. Women business leaders flexing their muscle and sharing their keys to success. More on the mission of the Indiana Conference for Women and a big name keynoting this year's event when we come back.
This is it, this is it, this is life.
A throwback to a classic 70s sitcom set in Indianapolis. One Day at a Time star Valerie Bertinelli, in a sense, coming full circle. Bertinelli in the real Indy in a few weeks to keynote this year's Indiana Conference for Women. Valerie Bertinelli among speakers, including senior execs at PepsiCo and Nike at this year's conference in downtown Indianapolis. Since its founding in 2010, it has grown into the largest one-day conference for women professionals and entrepreneurs in the Midwest, providing a one-stop shop to learn and connect with women from every corner of the state.
Being in the room with so many other women leaders, women supporting women and showing that that is actually out there, especially for those of us who came up in very heavily male-dominated fields. It was that opportunity each year that I could connect with other women leaders, learn from them, and be inspired by them.
And I look forward to being at this year's event, which is expected to attract more than 1,200 at the JW Marriott in downtown Indy, November 1. Organizers say a small number of tickets remain. You can get those at indianaconferenceforwomen.com.
I am woman, hear me roar in numbers.
And mark your calendars for yet another big event showcasing Indiana women in business. IBJ's Women of Influence Awards coming up October 31 at the Indiana Roof Ballroom. You need to register, though, by October 24th. Well, we wrap up our show this week on another really big event in Indianapolis. The Sea of Blue Jackets descending this week on the city. The FFA convention, one of the largest conventions in Indianapolis. It'll be a great week. Thanks for joining us. I'm Gary Dick. Go out and make it a successful week. Thank you for listening to the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast. Remember, you can get the latest business news from every corner of the state at InsideIndianaBusiness.com. I'm Gary Dick. Go out and make it a successful week.